Real, and it makes me immensely proud of this achievement that all of us were able to, to get together.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and we would love to hear more of them definitely, as our darlings from the media would really love to ask a lot of questions, I'm guessing. So once again, we would like to open the floor to our friends from the media.
Mabuhay! I'm Army Medina representing the Philippines Daily Inquirer.
We love that callback. That was the same introduction for your send-off.
Hi, Pauline. Based on your experience in Miss Supranational, how do you think should we go about the search for your successor?
It was a 3-week experience, so we really need someone who is strong in terms of emotional capacity and character to really make it through that very rigorous time that you're away. Because I think one thing that might be challenging is getting homesick. There will be times for sure where you're gonna long for home, you're gonna long for your mom's cooking, you're gonna long for being able to be hugged by your friends, for example. So we really need to have someone that is dedicated to that journey too.
Okay, just one more question, Annabelle, if I may. What qualities will you look for in the applicants that will make you say that, yes, I would like you to fight for the crown I'm wearing right now?
Oh, wow. Sorry, I was going to say something, pero wag na yun. I already mentioned dedication earlier. That is something that I will always be looking for. But also someone who has the courage to always take that initial first step. Because this journey, whatever journey it is that you start in life, whatever new chapter you start in life, it's going to be scary. And of course, we all have our own doubts, we all have our own insecurities, whether it's your body, whether it's your speaking abilities, or your social skills even. We all have those tiny little things about ourselves that cause a little bit of self-doubt. But with all that self-doubt, as long as you have the courage to take that first step, that means that you are willing to at least allow yourself to be transformed and to become better. And that is one aspect that I'll definitely be looking for in the next person, or in the women that want to wear this crown or the main crown afterwards.
Very well said, Miss Philippines. Thank you very much for the honor you gave our country.
It has been my pleasure and honor. Thank you.
Hello. First of all, congratulations for making us all kilig sa performance mo. In our hearts, you are our Miss Supranational 2020. So I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, to follow through his question, do you have someone particularly in mind who can be your successor?
In all honesty, medyo nahirapan ako dun. Because the Miss Philippines has just, let's say, has just been born, if there's another way of saying it. And it's going to be different from Miss Universe Philippines, for example. So I myself now also need to try and find someone that's going to fit the other mold a little bit better, if mold really is the right term, because we also try to make our own molds. But they will always be looking for something in particular. So actually, I'll go through social media later, and I'll email you. I'll email you the names.
Secondly, now that you have experienced your international victory, how did it change your life in general?
I think it has made me all the more appreciative and grateful for the people around me. Because, like I said before, it really isn't a one-woman journey, and it has been an ambition of mine for so many years already to finally wear the Philippine sash, to say Philippines through the microphone, and it wouldn't have been possible if not for the people on my team, if not for my mom.
You can take all the time you need. I think that deserves a huge round of applause, because she's really fighting with not just her mind but her whole heart, So, and it really shows, with the dedication and just the stellar performance overall that you showed at Supra. Maybe I shouldn't go on with the accolades. Maybe it'll make you cry even more. But you deserve your moment.
I really think it is impossible to have a press con without Pau Pau crying. No, but really, going back to what I said earlier, I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for the people who, in their way, were also dedicated to me in my journey. And I'm immensely grateful, immensely appreciative, but also extremely happy. A lot of people also keep telling me, oh, you should have won, you should have won. And I'm like, well, thank you for thinking that, but I already did. So, yes.
Love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Drew Francisco. First of all, Pauline, congratulations on your first one finish in the Supranational. The journey has been very long from your first national pageant to finally wearing the Philippine sash across your chest. So my question is, what message do you want to convey to your supporters and to the people watching through your journey in the Supranational?
There's actually so much that I want to say. And I think maybe one thing that I really want to focus on is the importance, once again, of keeping that voice in your mind the kindest and loudest. There will always be a multitude of voices, external voices, that might somehow doubt you, that might somehow try to bring you down. And it's important to really, especially one thing that I've learned this year, it's important to really know who you are and know that your value doesn't rely or doesn't depend on other people's perspective of you or other people's opinions about you. What's important is what you think of yourself, how you speak or talk about yourself to yourself, and how the people around you who are close to you see you, and how that relationship can create bonds, and how that relationship can make you even better as a person and individual.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Hey, mabuhay.
Mabuhay.
Congratulations, dear.
Thank you so much.
Yung first question ko is, one of the most dramatic moments nung search was yung kayong dalawa na lang on stage in Ecuador, your expression and all. What was going through your mind during the time now the winner was about to be announced?
It felt like an eternity on stage, just with me and Andrea. And I was reflecting back on my own journey, because Michelle told me once, before I left, that when you're on that stage, come coronation night, somehow your entire journey, not just from the year before, but from the very beginning, will somehow flash before your eyes. And I had that moment, because I realized it had been since 2017, back in Miss Hall, that I was in the top 2, holding hands with just one other girl, hoping, praying, manifesting to be able to be worthy enough to win that crown. And I saw that in my mind. It was a flashback, and at some point I had to close my eyes. There was just so much going on, so many emotions, so many feelings, and I noticed that if I close my eyes, I experience it better. I experience it more. I allow myself to be in that moment, because shortly after that, that moment's going to be gone, and I don't think I'll ever have a moment like that again in life. So I was really letting every feeling sink in at that moment. And what was going through my mind also, aside from that flashback, was also just my prayers of gratitude for my mom and my friends also somehow being able to go to Poland, for making it that far. Like, I really felt like this is a winning moment already. This is such an achievement for not just me, but for the Philippines. And I was already so grateful at that point, and all I could think was, Lord, whoever wins, please make her the worthiest, or make her worthy of the crown and the responsibility of her. Thank you.
Thank you. And then yung last question ko is, parang one of the commentaries after the search was, ikaw daw yung parang unang first runner-up na talagang i-uplift pa by saying na, well, deserving ka rin by short, parang konting figure lang, ganyan. Yung recognition coming from the host, and of course, then yung Miss Supra last year. How did you feel about it?
That was so heartwarming. That made me cry even more when I heard that on stage. You know, of course, it's not Papa. She's not going to cry a little bit. But it felt nice to be recognized also, because sometimes during pageants, when the winner is announced, sometimes kawawa yung first runner because she's not given any recognition yung fourth, yung third, yung second, may sariling moment. But if it's just the two and it's the winner that's announced, yung first runner somehow fades into the shadows or into the background. And I was so grateful that they took their time also to give a special shout out to Philippines for being the first runner-up, and that really meant a lot to me. So to Joanne and to Nick, thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
I love your tie.
Thank you, Queen Pao. We are Itam from Manila Standard.
Hello.
Queen Pao, we know you as a woman who have plenty of advocacies and good causes. Now that after exerting your all and just efforts for the Supranational 2023, how do you plan to give back to the community or what's this, to influence younger Filipinos to follow your footsteps?
When people would ask me, do you see yourself as a model? My witty answer to that is, runway model, no. Role model, yes. So what I would try to mean to say with that is that before we try to make an impact, we have to make sure that we walk our own talk and that we take that initial first step into trying to reach out back to the community that has lifted us up during all the different parts and phases of our lives, whether it's your small village, whether it's just your little family, for example. There will always be a right time to give back to them. And I already made plans with my JCI chapter. I'm meeting them very soon when I'm going back to Bohol as well. And I hope to still work with even Save the Children, for example. I'm still in contact with George. He's my friend from Save the Children. And hopefully we can meet tomorrow, actually. It was supposed to be today, pero medyo busy na. Medyo pagod pa yung katawan ko from all the travels. So hopefully tomorrow. And that's just the little few things that I can do to somehow use my voice, as I said before, to reach out to others and to spark that action at least. With the platform that has been given to me, I think that's one of the least things that I can do to give back.
Last question. With the voice that you have now, that you can use in the pageant world, how can you unite the pageant fans or people to avoid toxicity and to unite for all Filipinos who carry or who raise our flag for international competition?
I love that question, actually. And I've already experienced so much, we've all somehow experienced so much of the toxicity that also comes along with pageantry. And I noticed that one thing that we can all do about it is to speak up and kill it with kindness. There's so much power in every voice here in this room and in every post even that you can make online. And I noticed that if I would speak up about it, somehow people maybe get the chance to reflect or think on their actions and maybe even take a step back and realize, no, hindi yun maganda, I shouldn't have done that. Everyone has feelings that don't deserve to be hurt in ways that are just mean or cruel. And hopefully, by speaking up about it, which also takes a lot of courage sometimes, believe you me, by speaking up about it, at least we allow ourselves and other people to reflect on our thoughts, on our actions, and on the things, on how we treat the people around us, especially when it comes to pageantry. Because Callie said that we don't. Callie, our friend, she was with. Sorry, I'm still in the pageant from last night. She was Miss Pasig during Miss Universe Philippines. She said that women don't join pageants to be criticized and to fall, not victim, but to take on all that toxicity, but because we want to raise our voices and we want to bring people together. And that's something that we always need to remind ourselves with. I always believe that beauty pageants, like basketball or boxing, really have the capacity to bring people together. So let's use that unity for something purposeful and meaningful.
Strongly agree on that. Congratulations again, Paul.
Thank you.
Hello, hi. I'm Charlie from the Philippine Star. So my question is, how do you want to be remembered as a beauty queen in the world of fashion?
I'd like to be remembered as a dedicated papa. It's been three 3 tries for me in national pageantry before I finally was able to represent the Philippines internationally. And even then, I didn't actually come home with the main crown. But I hope that people somehow remember me still as a winner, as a queen, because we were able to achieve something so big and something so glorious together. And it really comes to show that when we all put our hearts and minds and souls into something that unites people, then we can really make that beautiful difference in the world when we come together. Thank you.
Congratulations, Pauline. To us, you're the winner. No one else. Wala nang iba. Anyway, I'd like to ask you, what new things did you learn at the end of your journey, and what are the things you also validated during this journey?
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm excited by your question. One beautiful thing that I learned, or that I realized on this journey, that the different cultures of the world, even if we come from different countries, can somehow still unite us. Because Asia has its own distinct culture that somehow united us. And I saw this also very evidently with the African continent when they performed their production number as a group. It was so beautiful to see all of them somehow unite in a culture from their own continent. And I think that was such a beautiful realization. And I also have another realization, and that is that language isn't necessarily a barrier into understanding one another. For Miss Supranational, we had something called a From the Ground Up project, which was a project that every candidate had to bring forth, and it was a project that all of us somehow had to be part of or had to start in our own communities. And each of us had a chance to talk about it for a good 3 to 5 minutes every evening. And there were some candidates, especially those from the Latin countries, who didn't really speak English well, so they asked a translator, one of our co-candidates, to at least translate what they were saying in Spanish into English, for us to at least understand a little bit more. But I realized that as I was looking at the candidate presenting, even as she was speaking in Spanish, I could still feel her emotions. I was crying with her when she was crying, I was smiling when she was smiling, and I somehow got the message that she was trying to convey, even without necessarily listening word for word to the translator. So language really isn't a barrier into understanding, because feelings and good intent is felt. And that's something that I really realized, and it was a beautiful realization for me.
What are the stuff that you validated, that you knew all along, and that you got to validate during the journey?
Stuff that I validated?
Yeah, I mean that were really true. That this is true. I mean that you validated. I mean that you validated for yourself when you were there.
For validation on the aspects of my journey?
Yeah.
Well, it was my first international pageant, and when I spoke to Michelle before leaving, she also told me that the national pageants here in the Philippines, in particular the Miss Universe Philippines, was such a good training ground for an international pageant, because it's somehow the same in terms of schedules, in terms of waking up early, having to do your own hair and makeup. And that was something that I saw was also really true, and it was such a great help to me also. And it also allowed me that extra spare time to reach out to the other co-candidates and then help them put on their falsies, finish their look, or help with their photos and say, gorgeous, gorgeous girl, as we were taking each other's pictures. And it was such a beautiful part of our journey. And that's one thing, I guess, that I was able to validate when I was there already.
Finally, is this your last contest? Will you be trying again next year for Miss Universe Philippines?
I would have already exceeded the age limit if I join next year. I'll be turning 28 this month, so I don't think that pwede na.
Maybe they extended to 30 years old.
Let's talk again then.
Thank you.